Hello, I'm John Dodge, Community Manager of the Enterprise CIO Forum, back with another week in review, this time for the week of November 28th. We have 4 stories on tap for you today. The first looks at the ever-critical relationship between CIO and CFO. The second looks at the thinning ranks of women CIOs and why that is likely to happen in the future. The fourth story asks, who's really driving the trend toward consumerization and mobility? The answer might surprise you. And the fourth story will look a little bit at big data. An article in CFO magazine concludes that the CIO is not a trusted partner of the CFO. Why is this? Well, it has a lot to do with the CIO's inability to prove the value of IT to the CFO. And the article goes on with an anecdote. A few years ago, the CIO at Sears walked into the CFO's office, and the CFO asked, "What are we getting for the $800 million we spend every year on IT? I don't have a good feel for that." Well, apparently the CIO didn't either, at least to the satisfaction of the CFO. So Sears went out and created a position called Director of IT Finance. Now this really speaks to the value of the CIO having some level of financial acumen where they can quantify and prove the value of IT to the CFO. And the article went on to say that unless the CFO and the CIO are in sync, get a new CIO. So this was written for CFOs, and it's real insight into the CFO's mind and how they view IT and how they view the CIO. I will do a quick post and point you to this story because it's really, really good reading, because I know most CIOs want to have a good relationship with their CFO, but it's a difficult relationship and not always a smooth one. An article in Campus Technology looks at why there will be fewer women CIOs in the future and what's driving this. Well, there were 3 reasons. 1, women tend to become CIO at a later age than men. Number 2, from a percentage perspective, more women CIOs will be retiring in the next 10 years than their male counterparts. And finally, some women just do not want the top job. So there you have it. There are going to be fewer women CIOs in the future, most likely. Bill Laberis did a video where he said, I bet you think that IT or millennials or Gen Xers or Gen Y, the real younger generation of workers, is driving the trend toward consumerization and mobility. Guess what? That's wrong. A survey from Forrester Research concluded that it's senior managers, senior executives, the ones who go on the road, who go to conferences, who take clients out to dinner, they go on the road, they work at home, they work in the office, so they have a real need for mobile networking and smartphones and tablets, the tools that are driving this consumerization trend. In fact, the study said that 35% of millennials, who you might have thought have been driving this trend, are chained to their desks. They have entry-level jobs. They don't really go anywhere. Sure, they like to bring their smartphone to work, but that's really not something that the IT department or the enterprise should really be responsible for. Finally, big data. What is it? Well, we did a video, actually Bill Laberis again did a video where he did a primer on big data. And he uses a really unique example. We know a lot of this data is coming from email and social media and that sort of thing. But did you know that a jet engine on a Boeing plane generates 20 terabytes of data per hour? Now think about that and multiply it times the number of jet engines and the number of planes in the air, and you have zettabytes of data. And this could be incredibly valuable when it comes to maintaining those engines, to making sure they don't fail, to increasing their fuel efficiency. And then I did a video that looked at why big data is important, not only just to business executives across the board, but to consumers as well. A lot of consumer magazines are covering big data and talking about why it's important when it comes to creating new drug therapies, to catching criminals. Big data is just a really, really powerful concept where you can use all this data that on the surface does not look like it has that much value, but it says a lot about you. Well, that's it for this week in review for the week of November 28th. I'm John Dodge, Community Manager of the Enterprise CIO Forum. Thanks for watching.